First of all, I would like to thank you for staying. And second, I would like to welcome the panel members very much, starting with Professor Ashley Braganza, the Director for Center for Artificial Intelligence, Brunel University, London. Dr. Assaad Farah, the Dean of School of Business, American University in Dubai. Mr. Ihsan Zakri, the Regional Head, Middle East and Africa, AACSB International from Amsterdam. And Dr. Ammar Alhawaj, the Executive Director for Communications and International Relations, Ahlia University. So now we will be talking about the role of QA agencies and accreditation standards in upskilling graduates for Society 5. And as we all know, that we have been talking throughout this morning and different sessions about AI, about how AI is making a big change in our lives. And there is a big question that we are all asking ourselves, that what are the key skills that our graduates require in the future, okay, for Society 5? And with the use of technology and, you know, with all these changes that is happening so dramatically, we need to know what we need to do further and what is the role of standard setting like QA agencies, accreditation bodies in setting up better standards for our future graduates, okay, to meet Society 5. So I will start with the first question to Mr. Ihsan. Okay. In your opinion, what do business schools need to consider as a priority to meet Society 5 key skills?
Right. Thank you. Thank you so much. And because we stand before you and the lunch, I'll be very brief.
Very, very brief.
No, so the role of as an accreditation body and the volume that AACSB has of exceeding 1,000 universities, this was evident. I mean, the conversations we heard this morning, it is all tied into what will be highlighted, the areas that emerged. We were in last week for the Dean's Conference in Las Vegas, and surprisingly, or not surprisingly, the main theme was on generative AI and how disruptive it is and how what we need to do in business education and what keeps the deans up at night. So there were three core areas that were highlighted, and it is tied to your question. And the first one, it is the integration of digital or work on digital literacy or integration of digital literacy in education, and that is the core of all areas if we look at it. And just taking that as this is not only the point of how to use or utilize generative AI, but also how to develop creative thinking and how finding solutions to different problems using generative AI. The second area that we see business schools, or the focus for business schools in the coming period, is on interdisciplinary learning. Our conversation this morning was where the center is and how interdisciplinary it is. But looking at the intersection of business, technology, and humanities, how they are intersect, this is the future of education. And last one, it is the social entrepreneurship, how to prepare the graduates to facing real life issues. Society challenges, social challenges, and finding real-life solutions to it. So if having this entrepreneurial thinking, having the capacity to real-life solutions by utilizing generative AI, it is how to prepare the graduates, and I think the focus for business schools for it.
Interesting. You have touched upon entrepreneurial skills and, you know, the use of AI for creativity as well. So I would have a question to Professor Ashley. And Professor, as per the literature, there is a lot of argument that, you know, with the use of technology, AI, and different tools in like online learning, hybrid learning, may have an impact on crucial skills like teamwork, for example, negotiation skills, because human will be mostly, you know, communicating or interacting with, you know, machines. So, in your opinion, what do we need to do in order to avoid such a situation?
Sure, thank you. It's interesting that we talk about skills and giving students skills, But what we've also got to bear in mind is that the skills we're talking about are for jobs that have not yet been created. All of the statistics show that large swathes, huge numbers of jobs that we currently recognize as jobs won't exist in the next 5 to 10 years. So the question then becomes, how do you future-proof these skills, future-proof the students? And if we take the skills that I think are going to be needed, like negotiation skills, it is about giving students real-life examples, embedding those into the programs that we teach. And if I could just come back to the point that Ihsan made a few minutes ago, which is the importance of interdisciplinary teaching. When I designed the AI strategy program, it took 18 months to design the program, and the people involved in the design of that program came from engineering, computer science, law, creativity, ethics. We had people from cultural and creative communities, and we had people from multiple disciplines within the business school. It was a program team that was a bit like the movie Avengers Assemble. You know, everyone brought a completely different skill. We were going mad because we were all using the same words, but talking foreign languages, because ethics to a lawyer and ethics to a computer engineer mean two completely different things. So you've got to kind of, as academics, and we've kind of got to go through that pain barrier ourselves to genuinely give the students the skills that they need.
I admire what you said. We need to take this pain to ourselves. So we are assuring that we are, delivering the right, curriculum for our graduates. So we are really producing the right graduate for Society 5. So my next question is for Dr. Assaad. Dr. Assaad, in your opinion, what kind of, quality assurance standards do we need to set in place for, maintaining good quality, good accreditation, to support producing graduates for Society 5? Especially when we are talking about quality assurance standards, we all know that students nowadays, they are really relying on AI for different purposes. Some of it is formal learning, some of it is informal learning. So that kind of learning, it could be positive in a way, but in some cases, it's unethical. So in your opinion, what kind of quality assurance standards need to be set in order to avoid such unethical behavior for Society 5 graduates?
Yeah, thank you. I mean, the issue now is that we still don't know where we're going to be in 5 years from now. And quality assurance standards, and Ihsan knows, we cannot change them every year. So we are in a phase right now where I would say we have to be careful to set the standards from now and go and say to business schools, yes, you have to implement those standards now, because these will most likely change next year and the year after and the year after, because we are in an extremely dynamic environment. This being said, all business schools or any universities in any fields, organizations, companies, accreditation bodies should work together from now, and we started working on this, in order to determine what those standards would be. So we still don't know. We have to really investigate. We have to see where the technology is going, where the social skills are going, what the industry is needing, our assessments in universities or in schools, where all of this is going to be to determine the standards. Meanwhile, I think that QA policies can be determined at the level of particular schools or universities, because they could be changed much easier and faster than national or international accreditation bodies. These will be in place in order to just be with us in the journey towards when we apply those new standards that they're gonna come up. Now, I think the main issue here, in this journey for now, is the ethical issue. Okay, and Even here, there's a big question mark as to what is ethical and what is unethical. Okay, when we were in Las Vegas last week, one of the professors from Wharton University said AI is like the wind. Okay, you cannot stop it. Okay, so we can't stop it. Is using ChatGPT ethical or unethical? Okay, I actually allow my MBA students to use ChatGPT in the exam. Okay, because the way I see it is that this is here to remain, and it's going to be even developed more and more. So the difference for me here is not whether we're choosing ChatGPT, for example, and getting the output of it or no. Is the difference is the quality outputs. Currently, our quality outputs are here. In 2, 3, 4, 5 years from now, what we will require from people in the industry and from our students are quality standards that are higher than the roof. So even if you're using ChatGPT, you will use it, but you need to be an expert. You need to know how to use other tools in order to come up with the higher qualities. Right now, you can generate a marketing campaign in 1 hour. 2 years ago, you needed 1 year.
True.
Okay, so now I'll be requiring, if I'm a CEO of a company, to have 5 or 6 marketing campaigns to choose one of them by the end of the week. Thank you.
Interesting. So, in your opinion, that we need to do, as higher education institutions, we really need to cater our ethical standards, by setting our quality policies that we can, implement immediately and try to get, the practices according to situation.
Yeah, because I don't know when they invented the calculator, but probably they had the same question then. If you're using the calculator, is it ethical or unethical? I remember when I was in school, because I'm not that young, they used to tell us you cannot use the calculator here. So
no. Okay, I think Mr. Ahsan would like to add something to that.
Let's interject, because this will be very controversial, of course, talking about it. Going back, we just issued a report about policies on generative AI for business schools, and we realized it was just released yesterday, and 56% of universities or business schools around the world, they don't have a framework.
Yes, that's why.
That is dangerous. We need a framework. Schools must start somewhere, have a structure. And it is, of course, it is here to stay, and finding what is the structure that it works. And I don't know if it will be possible to have it as a global level, but we need to have a framework for institutions how to handle that. But the gap that we have existing right now, I'm not talking about the gap of knowledge. That is also substantial, but we're talking about the gap of having a framework of how to tackle and handle that, and we are late.
So
sure, go ahead.
I'm going to throw another one into the mix. You see, I wonder whether we need a fundamental mind shift, because whether it's ChatGPT or the calculator, these were tools. Okay, these are just tools. Actually, I think as academics, what we need to do is we need to change how we think about something that gets very, very, very little airtime in most academic discussions about curricula, which is around assessments. And I say we, forgive me, I don't include any of you. Let me talk. In the past, have seen assessments as being a hurdle that the student has to jump over to prove to me that they know about the subject I have just taught them, right? And when you come at assessments with that mindset that an assessment is a hurdle that a student has to jump over, then the next immediate step in the discussion is, well, what tools do they have to help them jump over the hurdle? Because if someone's jumping over the hurdle, just straight jump, and someone's got 3 steps and then takes this little tiny step over the hurdle, you say, this is not a level playing field. Can you say? That's because what the mindset is, the assessment is a hurdle. If we see assessments as being an extension of the learning that we have done in the classroom, and the assessment is a further extension and consolidation of that learning, then actually the tools we give them to continue the learning through the assessment completely changes. Then how we even perceive these tools begins to change. my issue is when we talk about curriculum, we talk about particularly ChatGPT, we are looking at it through the wrong side of the telescope. You see? And we need to kind of flip our own mindset to say, actually, the issue is how we think about assessments and how we then fit the tools into supporting the student through the learning process, through that assessment. So forgive me, I'm quite passionate about this one.
Okay, my last question is for Dr. Ammar, and I think I'm keeping the most difficult one to you. Okay. As we know that Professor Mansour earlier stated that our strategic plan is approaching end. So what are the aspiration and the strategies of AU that will be kept in place to meet Society 5? And if there is any consideration of what just been said about, revision of teaching and learning, standards, ethical standards, and so on.
So first of all, thank you for having me on this panel. I really enjoyed the discussion so far. Hopefully I can add something new, because part of what was discussed so far is very much part of the answer to the same question. So if we're talking about the strategy going forward, today we're here talking about responsible innovation and Society 5.0. So how are we as a university whose mission is dissemination of knowledge, research, etc., to serve society, to work in this direction, not to go against the flow? The same is true very much for ChatGPT, all these generative AI tools that were discussed so far. This is not something that we can fight. And I absolutely agree with Professor Ashley. We need to change our mindset. We're not talking about just how can we guard against this? How can we make sure we catch our students when they cheat? How can we protect the learning process? No, we need to embed it in the heart of the learning process. So it's a tool that is used for good. Otherwise, the gap between those with the correct or appropriate digital literacy level will be a problem. So when we talk about the way forward, part of it will be reimagining the curriculum, thinking about what the future classroom is going to look like. When we rethink the curriculum, going back to the basics, digital literacy, yes, yes, yes. Also, appreciating the difference between what is a multidisciplinary curriculum, what is an interdisciplinary curriculum, and what is a transdisciplinary curriculum. Sometimes they're used interchangeably. So can we go from a point of being multidisciplinary and truly multidisciplinary, where we're using these different disciplines in tandem to work together, to serve each other, to overlap, not just as silos, or when we talk about courses, sometimes within a program. How can we relate these courses to make the program more cohesive as a learning process, to have, we talk about progression, this is very academic, we talk about articulation. What about a kind of a horizontal articulation between the different courses, the courses from the different disciplines? And one way to go forward with this is to focus more on something that I like, something not the most innovative solution, but hackathons, competitions that bring students from different disciplines to work together and to make sure we can make this also a part of the curriculum, something mandatory, not just, sometimes we talk about, oh, we have so many innovators, we've had so many entrepreneurs that we've graduated, but what is the percentage of students that are benefiting from this? Did we sprout out a few success stories out of 1,000, out of 2,000, out of 3,000? What about the rest of the students? Are they getting an equivalent learning experience? So this is one thing that really needs to be focused on going forward.
Thank you very much. I really liked, the differences between, planning our future curricula. And that's something that we need to really consider, in my opinion, as a higher education institutions for the way forward. I think I would like to really thank you very much for now, because I'm pretty sure I can see faces telling me to finish. However, I'll leave it for 2 questions only. Okay? Professor Malik. The mic. Only 2 questions. Only one.
Okay, thank you very much for the lovely discussion. Professor Ashley, in his earlier presentation, early today, he gave us sort of, his plan is to really position the AI, not strategically, not, technically, but in between, because there is a gap there, right, Professor Ashley? Now, with this title, I can see some of sort of challenges between the graduates and instructors or professors or academics. The graduates are highly digital literate, as he used Dr. Ammar digital literacy, while some of the academics, they don't have that competencies. No, the idea is really, if you want to have sort of that ladder, as Professor Ashley said, to go, okay, and help them. So what are the best solutions for the academics to be competent and really manage the situation, not the other way around? Thank you.
Do you want me to pick that
Go
one?
ahead.
Okay. So here's something that might come as a shock, but academics need to retrain as well. And
course.
academics need to go and learn. As it so happens, so as you may have gathered, I'm business school, right? So I don't go very close to the tech bit, but my computer science colleagues do, right? They understand the stuff. And believe it or not, this month I have had 2 classes with a computer science colleague of mine to kind of teach me about Python and about programming and about understanding how to program using Python. Okay, now I have to say it took a while because there's this, oh my God, am I going to even begin to understand it? And actually, no, it is fairly straightforward, but we need to kind of get on top of this technology because otherwise this technology is going to be, well, it's already on top of us, but we need to get on top of this technology. So I think academics, individually, we need to retrain. But I genuinely think this multidisciplinary, I've seen so many programs that are titled multidisciplinary, but really it's a badge that someone's put on top of the door. And as soon as you go through the door, each discipline is in their silo and there is no multidisciplinary going on. So one of the things that we do in the program that I was talking about is the assessments are marked in term 1 by engineers, computer science, and business school. So 3 academics from those 3 disciplines have to come into a room and listen to an assessment and then agree a mark and jointly agree a mark. Now, that takes some doing. That you can't hide in your discipline when you've got to agree a mark publicly. In term 2, it's the lawyers, business school, and ethicists that have to come together to agree a mark. It's when you bring these disciplines together, get people in a room, then it's genuinely multidisciplinary.
Thank you. Last one.
Last one, me.
I'm really sorry, but we need to leave the room because some other session is here.
I think Professor Ashley is going to agree with me on that because, as you remember, a few years back when doctors rejected the idea of robotics, and UK was the first country to host a distant, surgery.
This is a sign that we need to leave.
This is finished. So, what I wanted to say about multidisciplinary things here. We have seen. Is there? Okay, so So what I wanted to just to say that we had a lot of doctors from different background and different disciplinaries going into the research of or using the robots, which is just the similar idea of ChatGPT. Robotics, ChatGPT itself, it's just a tool that we are feeding the information. The information is coming from us. First of all, we have to concentrate on the quality and the information that we are feeding to ChatGPT before we are using it, or we are thinking of using it. The other thing that we are talking about, which is similar again to the robotic surgeries, is how to implement this, the quality of using that, and using that as a tool. So first of all, we have to think on how to implement this within our schools to use that. We have to think about it as a curriculum now, because it's something that we have to use, whether we like it or not. Then the quality of using that, how to use that, and how to utilize that, and the quality of the outcome that we are thinking of when the outcome is outside. It's just similar to the robotics. How good the surgery using that is the same thing on how the research is going to come out of GPT. So first of all, we have to think of the information that we are feeding to GPT, how we are teaching our children or our students or our researchers on using that, how to utilize these different tools, and the quality of it. So the standard that we are looking for is this is what we, as universities, as parliaments, as governments, we have to think on how to up this and how to put this within the law as well, because law is very important with using that, because the information that we are feeding, it has some information, then the law has to be attached to that. Also, we have to think of that when it comes to ChatGPT and the schooling and the universities. And thank you so much.
Thank you very much. The mic is working well. It just, I think, was just refusing one more comment.
I just wanted to say thank you for that comment. I think, in this discussion, one thing that perhaps we missed, but it's between the lines, the governance. I mean, it's been said as a framework and such, the governance and the ethics involved. So I want to thank you for highlighting
And
that.
regulatory, definitely. We need regulatory at a higher level. Yep. Sure.
I just want to say that if we want to summarize, if you want to choose one key skill that we need for the future, it's adaptability.
Thank you. I totally agree, because that's what we have also included in our strategy. So adaptability. Thank you very much. And we're sorry for those people who we couldn't, but blame it on Professor Alam. Thank you so much. Thank you.